how the company got started was when Dad was at one of the archery shops, local archery shops. And it was when they first started becoming beyond parallel. The technician was pressing a bow.
Once they pressed it, it got stuck in there and they'd have to loosen it up a little and bump it up. It finally came loose, it popped completely out of the press. I figured then there had to be a better way.
And that's how it all got started. A bow flying out of a press and an idea of doing it a better way. So after high school, Leon left home to join the U.S. Air Force. Once he completed active duty, he moved back home to Georgia, where he worked for and retired from General Motors. Although one job wasn't enough. During his time with GM, he also made custom knives that sold to customers worldwide. And he and his brother built and managed a chicken farm. After retirement, he shot archery professionally for several years and decided he still had to work. So naturally, along came the establishment of Last Chance Archery. That was 20 years ago. 20 years of Last Chance Archery.
When I was a young kid, I would take a bow in and we would draw it back and put an Allen wrench in the camp. That's how that was your bow press. I mean, that's what people did, just because there weren't options. I mean, there were one or two presses out there, and they weren't good ones.
It was a hard way to start when you don't know anything hardly about how to press a bow or why you press it or anything else. I've been in archery most of my life, but there was better ways of doing things.
But better ways of doing things sometimes means building something on your own.
Started pressing one from the limb tips the way I'm doing now, and it evolved. I wanted a power press. I mean, nobody had a power press at that time. I had an old satellite dish actuator, and it went from there. And we used the satellite dish actuators for years, still use the motors off of them, but we get them reconfigured a little bit.
Now for Leon, the bow press was not his first archery invention. It was actually the fall-away arrow rest.
Well, I had a patent on it for 3 years, and the maintenance fee was due on it of $350, and I didn't pay it. And 2 years later, it was the hottest thing in archery, and it still is, probably.
On the business side of things, lessons learned. Avoiding that mistake required some help from the family.
When I became involved with him was patent time. I actually helped him to submit his patents.
But for Leon, getting into the bow press business, he had a low expectation on it being a moneymaker because he was making them by hand and in small quantities.
One or two a week maybe, and make a little money, go hunting every once in a while, and have fun with it.
And not doing this full-time, from the time of conception to the time Leon was ready to bring the bow press to market, well, it took a little bit of time.
From what I recall, it was about 2 years maybe. They worked on it, and the Atlanta ATA show was the first ATA show that they actually attended.
At that ATA show, Leon knew he had made something special.
And we took orders for 140 presses, and I could do one a week if I got lucky. And it almost wasn't then, because we lost over half of those orders because I couldn't get them done. I was basically doing it myself. I started this company in a old chicken house. I started with a $100 bandsaw, an old milling machine that I had in my knife shop, a bandsaw that I had in my knife shop, and a $100 welder that I borrowed from my son. That's what started it.
For Leon, his family has been there every step of the way, and it started with his daughter, Wendy.
We didn't have anything. It started out with, I had a grandson working here, and his girlfriend, and several others, but it evolved from 3 people to about 20 now.
But to keep a company going for 20 years, one product is not enough. There have been a few versions of the bow press since it was created.
We went from just the basic easy press and power press to the deluxe crossbow press. The easy green, I guess, really put it over the top. I don't know how many We sell probably 10 to 1 of any of the rest of them. But that's a basic home shop press. It still does the same thing as the Easy Press does and the Power Press, except you have to do it by hand. It don't take a whole lot to use it.
Don't let Leon fool you. The impact of this invention 20 years ago has helped to transform archery for good.
In the past 20 years, LCA has been a game changer for manufacturers, for distributors, from retailers, all the way down to the consumers. It is providing the necessary tools and equipment to adjust and tune and measure your archery equipment, making life a whole lot easier, making the sport of archery so much more enjoyable.
Over the past 2 decades, Last Chance Archery has streamlined the bow and arrow tuning process. Their contributions have had a remarkable impact on making archery gear more serviceable and efficient.
For the first 15 years, I've done everything with a winch press, the old pull presses, and then we went over to the new presses, and all of a sudden my elbow didn't hurt anymore. So it made a tremendous thing. Plus, we weren't putting as much stress on the bow. We reduced a lot of accidents, a lot of twisted and warped risers, just because of the design we're a lot more efficient in how it broke and designed the bow down.
Now, everybody wants to be able to tune. They want to be able to work on their own equipment. From a confidence side, and just from an ease of use side of things, but also the equipment has gone that way. You have to keep it tuned or it's not going to perform the way it needs to.
And that gives everyone an advantage when dialing in their bows to exactly how they want to shoot it. In 20 years, the Last Chance Archery bow press has changed the industry. It's changed the manufacturers, the shops, and even the shooters themselves.
LCA has definitely been an innovator in the archery community. They have made such a huge difference just in the 3D world, the target world, and the world for bow hunters, shop owners, or people even working at their stuff at home.
Over the years, the archery industry kind of has shifted. You know, we shoot a lot different style bows now than we did 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. I feel like LCA just adapts to whatever the archery community needs. When I use LCA products, I know that I have the best products and I am going to be going out on the range and competing to the best of my ability.
So the discipline that I love the most is field. And prior to having the press myself, I'd have to drive an hour to the shop, mess with something, and then I'd have to go home where there's actually angles. Every week I found myself bringing my bow over there to the archery shop, working on it, tinkering on things, and then I get home, find out it's not quite right, and I go back to the shop. Make my best guess the next week on where it should be and drive back home and try it out again and try it out again. And having a press just makes it so I don't just get a standard tune for my bows. And it's just made it so that I can actually specifically tune it for field rather than just getting it pretty close. That would never be the case if I didn't have a press right there at the house that's really easy to use, and that also wouldn't be the case if I couldn't afford one.
People can get that simple green press and take it bow hunting, because there's accidents going to happen everywhere. It doesn't matter who, what, when, or where. There's accidents going to happen, and you can be able to work on it. If you've got a 5-day paid hunt somewhere, and you go somewhere and it's the only bow you got, you're going to fix whatever you got. You're going to be able to go back and go hunt. Last Chance gives you that instead of being able to pack it up, go home, and not be able to hunt anymore.
The bow press has been so popular over the years that even today, as Leon drives down the driveway of Last Chance Archery and sees pallets of presses being shipped out, his reaction is priceless.
Where are they going? We put out about 400 a week. They can't keep going. That's what I said 5 years ago, and they're still going. Every year it's more. I know someday it's got to stop, but I hope it's no time soon.
So it all started with a bow press, but recently, the product offerings from Last Chance Archery have been expanding.
So I started in 2013, and at that point, you know, we had, I guess, 4 bow presses maybe total. and maybe 1 or 2 small attachments like a tool tray and a floor stand. It was nothing else. We were hardcore into attending ASA tournaments. I was shooting every day, every weekend we were somewhere. So it was just the need for tools, the need for all these tuning techniques and all this stuff that really kind of pushed us to dig deeper, and it was shooters bringing in information, and we were trying to fill those needs. So it's always been driven by what do people need? What's going to make it easier? What's going to make it simpler, safer? I mean, it's every meeting we have talking about new products, it starts with those questions. And that's what we try to hone in on, and we try to make the products that's going to make it easier for a dealer to be more efficient, which helps them make more money. For a shooter to be able to tune their equipment easier and be safer. It's all those things that play into every move and every new product that we make.
I know that all the people around LCA are archery people. They all shoot archery, and they all actually care about archery as much as I do. So I know that the products they produce is stuff that I actually want to buy. And that's kind of the deciding factor for me, is there's a ton of companies out there that produce cool gadgets, but most of the time I don't need them or don't even really want them. And the tools that LCA supplies and the convenience things that they have, like the string clips and the tool trays and the magnets for your press and all of those little things, makes my job in the pro shop easier because everything is at hand. I can turn the bow so I can see mod screws, and I can tilt it when I'm leveling things, the whole bit. Because they're archery people, they make products that we actually need, and it's not just a bunch of fluff and trash that sounds cool, but you don't really need it.
The innovation of Last Chance Archery products has been incredible, from not just the presses, but all of the other accessories, the arrow saws, the everything that a pro shop owner or a serious competitor or serious bow hunter would want. Last Chance Archery has been there for them.
We're always working, and we're working with huge names in the industry too. We're working with dealers, we're working with individuals, pulling all those ideas and trying to compress them into something and taking it from something that's written on a napkin. Taking that and going through all the steps. You go through 4 or 5 prototypes, then you figure out and you get it nailed down and you make one of them. Because that's our biggest thing. Let's make one. Once we get the one, we can then figure out how to produce it and how to make money off of it, how to make it cheap enough. Because there's a million different things that go into it. That's the plan. The next 20 years, we're going to continue to build what the shooter needs, what the dealer needs, to work on the equipment that comes out, and hopefully more.